Chappelle show to be pulled off at HBO Max at Dave Chappelle's request. And I'm going to explain why this is a wrong thing for Dave Chappelle to do. Explanation wise, I know I'm going to get ratioed again on this video. But it's weird because like Jim Norton, Andrew Schultz, everybody who actually works in the business, successful people, all agree with me. And everyone who doesn't agree with me is broke and a loser and will never own a business or be able to loan out money, understand how deals work. But let's get into this from the Chicago Tribune. And there's some interesting quotes in here. HBO Max is honoring a request by Dave Chappelle to remove Chappelle's show from the streaming service at the end of the year. Casey Bloys, Chief Content Officer of HBO and HBO Max, made the revelation during a keynote conversation day one of Variety's virtual FYC Fest. And I find this quote interesting. We had a conversation with Dave. I won't get into it, but it's very clear that it's a very unique and specific and emotional issue he's got, Bloys said. So at the end of this year, December 31st, we're going to honor his request and take the show down. Chappelle previously got Netflix to take the show, which bears his name down as well. In a lengthy video of his stand-up sets posted to Instagram, and then he went to the explanation. And I made the video about why he's wrong. Now, I'm going to try and state this once again. I have no problem with Dave Chappelle pulling power moves. The only problem I have is Dave Chappelle's explanation and him acting like a baby, which has happened before. This man walked away and ran away to Africa when he could have got $50 million. And I think people need to start accepting that maybe Dave is a weirdo. But he's a creative dude, a complicated dude. But the reason why this is stupid, by the way, is Comedy Central needs to make money from that show that they own. Now, Dave Chappelle signed the contract. This would be like me bringing a ring to a pawn shop, and then when the pawn shop guy sells the ring, going back and going, can I get some of that money for that ring I pawned to you? That would make no sense. So why Dave is expecting and he's in a position where he can force them to, which is fine. But I hate the people defending this, not understanding how business works. Now you have to remember, up to this point of the Chappelle show, Dave Chappelle had 9 failed TV pilots. Which means he was getting TV pilot after TV pilot, money for these deals. You have to remember, people were getting deals all the time, and they got to keep the money if the show didn't pick up or anything. So he was making money, he was being in movies, and Comedy Central finally said yes to his 10th pilot. The show took off, it did good, and if he had stayed on the show, he would eventually have owned it. You don't think Seinfeld owned Seinfeld after season 2, do you? No, it was about season 5 when the show became a behemoth and he was able to negotiate for that. But Dave walked away. So Dave really has no one to blame for himself in that aspect. However, I must say I do love the power move he's doing. Obviously, he's going to have some deal worked out with HBO Max for them to even concede to this. Because, like, he called for a boycott of it. No one's boycotting that. And to be and another great thing Andrew Schultz brought up, and by the way, their video didn't get ratioed, but is that Dave became super famous off of the Chappelle show, and one could argue that's the compensation that he signed away for during that contract. And like I said, if he had stayed on the show, he would eventually have gotten owner's rights. But everyone's got this hindsight 2020 that, Comedy Central should have just gave Dave $50 million for his show on his 10th pilot, 9 of which had failed before. And they should have known it was going to be the biggest show ever at the time. And just giving everything away. You have to understand these companies lose money doing this. You know how many TV deals they do a year? Probably 20. Do you know how many of them become successful? Probably one. And they lose money on the other ones. But let me know your thoughts in the comments.